Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I just wanted to go over a few things. The GCSE people, I've gotten back some of your work, and some of the things that you either omitted or just simply got incorrect, we're going to go over those today. However, the people that are working towards level 1, these are also some prerequisites that you should know, and you should also have a try. I will send the workout on Friday this week, Friday. That way, when you get the work, you just can refer back to this video to look at how do I solve questions 1, 2, and 3. Also, for the people that's on working towards, you will have. I've also introduced you to start with algebra. You're going to continue to do that, but these I'm giving on as like some additional side work as well. So we're going to be doing a couple of different objectives. However, it's all towards your benefit. Okay, let's look at what we need to correct. So, one of the questions that was left out, or got incorrect by most of you, had to do with ratio. So it said to divide. This was a question that was on the GCSE paper that was from the EdXL exam board. So it said to divide 438 pounds in the ratio of 5 to 1. So what we simply do is this: 5 and 1 equals to 6. 5 and 1 equals 6. So I said that's my total. So I then say, let me take my 438 pounds. I'm going to divide that by 6. Yeah? That's as simple as that. So 6 doesn't go into 4, but it goes into 43 7 times with 1 left over. 6 goes into 18 how many times? 3. So I know if I just separate this into one group, it's going to be 73. Here's my ratio, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore it gives you one set of this ratio, which is 1. The other group, because this is a comparison, the other group is, if this is 1, I'll take this and I'll multiply it by 5 to get 5 groups or 5 sets of it. So how do I solve that? I'm going to say 73 times 5. 5 3s are 15. Carry that 1. 5 7s are 35 plus the 1 is 36. So that means the ratio should look like this. I could take this down to its simplest form, and I'll get 5 to 1. However, I want to make sure that this is right. So this should, when I put these together, it should total this. Let's make sure it totals. So let's make sure. We have 365 plus 73. You could also do 438, subtract 365 to get 73, and vice versa. You could do 438, subtract 73, you should get 365. However, let's just put it together like this, and just add up to this total. 8, 6 and 6 is 12, so 6 and 7 is going to be 13. Carry that 1, 438. So I know that this is correct. Okay? So that's your ratio. You're going to get some sent to them both for the people that's preparing for GCSE this year, and for the others that is working towards. You're going to be also getting some questions on that, like I said earlier. And we're going to look at you to have a go at those. You'll get those sent to him in the post. This is another question I noticed most of you missed, and I know why you've missed it. It's because you probably did not, at least I believe I know why you've missed it, because you don't understand what these mean. These are mathematical symbols. This simply means union. And this is an intersection. So, you usually see these when there's questions involving Venn diagrams or something of that sort. So, as you know, a Venn diagram looks like this. And just to keep it really simple, let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Union. Let's think about that word, union. Like almost like a marriage, everything together. One person brings another person together into one family, and everybody is part of that family. So that's our union. So if they've asked you, for example, if this is your Venn diagram, and this is A, and this circle is B, you may see a question like this: A union B, and they want you to solve what this is. So what it simply is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. However, when we have an intersection, you may say A, and it's like an N, but it's not an N. It looks like it could be an M, but it's not. It looks like it could be a U, but it's a symbol. It's usually a little slightly bigger, and it's usually written in a certain text. So this is like a, but you will see it look like that, A and B, and that simply means what's the intersection? And the intersection is what is inside what they both share, and what they both share is 3 and 4. It's as simple as that. These look like they're tricky. They're really not. And it could be a number of different things. It could be figures. It could be letters. It could be anything. And it may not always be represented in a Venn diagram, but something that shows you what clearly goes with one group and also another group. Sometimes you can have a third symbol, and you can get the same sort of thing. They usually don't have a third symbol on this test. However, when you see these, no longer needed to be skipping these questions because now you know how to do it. This question has to do with the fact, sorry, not the fact, it has to do with finding circumference. We spent some time on this post the first lockdown. However, we're going to look over this again, so we really need to go back and look at our notebooks, and if you don't have them, that's fine, but these are things you have to remember. You will note on those GCSE tests, they may give you the formula for working with a trapezium or some sort of polygon, some tetrahedron, but they will not give you the formula for when it comes with when you have to solve circumference. They expect you to know that, so this is something that you have to somehow embed into your knowledge base, if you will. So what we're dealing with here is circumference. Understanding what circumference is, understanding what the diameter is. So the question reads, a circular pond has a diameter of 6 means meters. 6 meters. It's telling you to calculate its circumference. So this is something you just need to know. So this is what we will call mathematics a given. This is something this is what you know. You just need to know. This is a given. So when we find the area, when we find the circumference, my apologies. When we find the circumference of a circle, knowing that, first of all, let's look at the circle. So I know it's not perfect, but when we talk about a circle, the diameter goes from one end to the other, traveling through its center point. From one edge of the circle through the other, traveling through the center point. The diameter could go that way, that way. There's many different ways it could go. So, to find the circumference of a circle, it's simply pi times diameter. Now, you may sometimes get just its radius. Now, if you talk about this is diameter, sometimes they may just give you the radius. A radius goes from the center point to the edge of the circle, or edge of the circle to its center point. Okay? That's the radius, just halfway. So if the diameter is if diameter is 6, I apologize, is 6 meters, obviously the radius, because it could be from here to here, or here to here, and here to here, its radius has to equal 3 centimeters. Radius is half the diameter. Sometimes you will get a circumference, or some people will remember circumference being 2 pi r. But this is an associative property. So that's why you can use one or the other. Associative property meaning if I multiply 2 times r, 2 times 3, I'm going to get 6. So it's an associative property. It doesn't really matter how you multiply it or which way you multiply it. The other thing I want you to just use is when you're using pi, if it's going to be in a decimal format, just use 3.14. Don't go beyond the thousands place, hundredths place, tenths, hundredths. Do not go beyond the hundredths place. Just leave it at that. It's pretty. That would be acceptable no matter where you are in the world. That's going to be acceptable. If you want to use it as a fraction, sometimes you may want to. It may be depending on how the question gets presented to you. It's simply 22 over 7. Okay. So pi is 3.14 or 22 over 7. Pi. Okay. So now we just simply have to plug it in, and it's fairly easy. So we can either say 3.14 multiplied by 6, which will give you your answer. Or you can say 2 times 3 and then multiply that by 3.14. Either way, you can get the same answer. Let's have a go at those. I'm going to send you some of those questions as well. Let's have a go at those. Okay. For the people that were doing the GCSE mock exams, I've noticed these are the ones that you have missed out. Now I want to be able to make sure that you are able to solve these and understand what's going on with them. These are linear equations. The meaning of the linear equation means that they have a line to them. So I'll get into how you show the line on the graph, but let's make sure we understand how to do this. So for this chart, it gives you what the x value is. The x value is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when y is 4, it's telling you, when x is 0, it's telling you y is 4. How do we prove this is correct? So we will say when 3 times 0 is 0 plus 4 gives you 4. We know that's correct. Let's just double check. When x is 2. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 4 is 10. So we could check all of them, but we know this is going to be correct. So let's go plug in what the value of y is when we have x being 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. Now it does not matter if the 3 by 1 plus 4 equals 7. It doesn't matter if the equal to sign is on this side or on that side because of the fact that it still balances. Doesn't matter which side it's on, it still balances. It's still an equal to sign. So let's look at how do we solve that. So this is going to be a 7. Let's look at how we solve this one. This is saying 3 by 3 is going to actually give us 9 plus the 4. Then 9 plus 4 is going to be 13. We solved that there. Now, the people that are working towards level 1, you are solving these now. But we're going to get into how do we actually plot them on a graph. So just take a look at these and just for future, because right now you're going to just simply working on the linear equations, but we're going to look at how do we actually graph them. Okay, so when we take that chart, we're going to try to plot this line. So remember, the first axis says when x is 0, y is 4. So when x is 0, y is 4. So we have our x-axis, we have our y-axis. So when x is 0, y is 4. So we plot it right here. When x is 0, y is 4. That's our first point. So the next one gets a bit tricky because it says 7. So let's look in between these and see when the 2, it doesn't have a 3, it goes to 4. So obviously it doesn't have a 7. It just goes from 6 to 8. So let's look at the 2, between the 2 and the 4, just to count what we got in between. So we start here at 2. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's half base, so that will make it 3. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So halfway between 6 and 8 is going to be 7. So the same thing when we get to 5. So we go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at this point, but remember we're talking about this point here, but remember we're talking about on the y side of the x-axis is going to be 1. So let's go up to the point of 7 from 1, 7, and it's going to be right here. So let's mark that. So point 1, point 2. The next point, it says when x is 2, y is 10. So when x is 2, y is 10. Let's mark that. Double check, we got our 10 and we got our 2. So the next point says when x is 3, y is 13, So let's go up again. So we go halfway between. So we go from here. If we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X is 3. Sorry, I was on the wrong line. And X is 3. Y is 13. Let's go up our x-axis to our y. And 13 is going to be, again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. So when x is 4, y is when x is 4, y is 16. Let's make sure we got it right. Just like in any sort of measurement, if you end up being a carpenter or whatever the case might be, it's always best to measure twice, cut once. So we mark it once, and we just make sure we double check before we mark it, okay? So the last point says when x is 5, y is 19. So let's go up to our line of 5. That's 18. So we're going to go up halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got that here. Now, what you always want to do when you're working with any sort of graph or any sort of line, you want to use this. You want to use any type of straight edge. Straight edge, obviously, I prefer if you use a ruler. It could be a book. Anything that's going to give you a straight line. Because now we have to mark that line to prove that this line, to show the line on the graph, which is what they're asking for on your GCSE. Okay? So you're going to take your line. Again, make sure it's lined up from one point through the other, and you'll make your line going all the way through. So the question asked you to draw the graph of y equals 3x plus 4 for the values of 0 to 5, and there you have it. You've done that. You can do that. I will send you more work on how we can solve these, and so you can have a few more questions on how to do this because you missed it out of your GCSE. But now you know how to do it. We're going to have a go. All right, guys.